Hey everyone, this is going to be an introduction and installation tutorial for Chronos. I'll also go over the initial setup of the software by going through all of the options available. Now, there are two versions of Chronos, the server and the client version. Timers and triggers are set up exactly the same way in both versions, so I'll use the server for now to show you that later on. And also the basic settings are exactly the same in both versions. There's a few more advanced settings in the server version, but I'll go through all of the settings in the server version, and that should cover the client as well. I'll point out the differences in the client version in one of the later tutorials. There's some big UI differences and things like that, but I'll go over that later. So let's go over the installation of Chronos. You get Chronos by downloading a RAR archive. This archive can be extracted to your desktop or whatever, but basically you extract the contents, and there's the three things inside: the executable, the web folder, and the icons folder. The icons folder contains icons that you can use for timers and things like that. They're fully customizable and you can add in your own, that's fine. The web folder contains HTML for the stats page that Chronos can generate, which you'll see in a later tutorial, and obviously the executable is the software itself. So the web folder doesn't actually come with the client version, it only comes with the server version. So let's go ahead and open up Chronos and see what happens. Okay, so here's Chronos, and as you can see, some files have been created. Well, a bunch of files have been created actually. These are the data files that Chronos uses. Don't delete these, otherwise you'll lose your data. But yeah, let's just close that for now. We've got our Chronos server version open. Now let's go over some of the options here. There's you can turn an overlay on and off. Okay, we'll keep that open for now. The server version has a bunch of options here, which we're not going to go over right now. That's the installation of Chronos. That's it. There's nothing more to it, to be honest. You need to make sure you have the .NET 4 framework installed. Otherwise, you can't use Chronos. But .NET 4 is available for free from Microsoft, so that's fine. But yeah, let's go over some of the. Well, let's take a tour of the program. You've got the overview. Both the client and the server version have an overview, which is this page here. Although the overview for the client version is significantly different to the server one. We've got our events window, or page, whatever you'd like to call it. This is the global events. Okay, you can create and edit your global events here. And you've got personal events, which are events just for you. You've got your management pages here. You've got user management, attendance management, and DKP management, or points, whatever you'd like to call it. You can change the settings here. Now, the settings, you can browse for your log file here. Okay, this will bring up a file browser. You can enable and disable your log reading, and you can open the log file as well. It'll open it in your default text reader, usually Notepad, something like that. You can turn on and off text-to-speech, sound files. Visual text-to-speech is not implemented yet. That's basically text-to-speech from Chronos will show up as text instead over the top of your game. Maybe for the hearing impaired or whatever, but visual text-to-speech is not implemented yet. There's the timer window customization. You can customize your timer window. Okay, you can do what you'd like to do with it. Okay, so you can set it up to look like Chronos if you want, or you can make it look like whatever you want. It's up to you. This can be made transparent if you want, for example. So those are the basic settings of Chronos. There's some advanced settings in the server version. The ones that are present in the client, just to point these out, the log file settings right here. This is present in the client version, and the text-to-speech dictionary. These are also present in the client version. So I'll go over these first. The log file read interval. There's a description of what that does here. It's how often your log file is read for new data. The lower the number, the more it's read. The higher the number, the less it's read. If you make the number too high, for example every 2 seconds, it's going to be less accurate with your timers. And there's going to be a lot of data read at once as well. Best to keep it low. You can disable global events for your for the server version. You can disable your global events when you're not running the server, and you can disable your personal events when the server is running. You can do a similar thing in the client version. You can disable your global events when you're not connected to a server, and you can disable your personal events when you are. It's up to you. Text-to-speech dictionary is pronunciation of text-to-speech. So if you've got a character name that sounds strange, I don't know, and just as an example, you've got hello. Loads. Okay, you've got hello.
Hello.
There we go.
Hello.
And you can make it change a word into something else. So.
Hello. World.
So whatever you type here, whenever it's read out by the text-to-speech, it will be replaced by this word instead. That's good for phonetic pronunciation. If you've got like a character name that's strange, or the text-to-speech doesn't pronounce it quite right, you can adjust it here, and hopefully it'll suit your needs a bit better. But yeah, those are the options available in the client version. There's some advanced settings for the server version. You can enable FTP. Okay, this will allow you to upload a report to your website. You can adjust a few basic settings here, but you can in fact adjust the entire HTML of the page in the web folder, which is what we pointed out earlier. But you can put all your server settings in here, and you can upload a report page to your website, which will show your users' DKP and attendance and things like that. You can also change your server settings, what port you run it on, the transfer rate. Now this is the rate that data is transferred to your users. The higher you set this, the more reliable the transfer will be. The lower you set this, the faster the rate the transfer will be, but your users may have trouble keeping up, so keep it about 4 or 5, which is decent enough. Maximum amount of users to connect to your server at once, up to you. Now keep in mind, Chronos does not use SSL or encryption of any kind, although it does use encryption when you sign in. When you sign in and it transfers your username and password to the server, it is encrypted, so that's not sent as plain text, but pretty much everything else is. So keep that in mind. Chronos is pretty much a prototype. It's really not for general use, although I can't stop you from using it. Well, I can't stop you from from using it to any extent. You know, if you'd like to use this with your guild, go right ahead, but I don't take any responsibility for what might happen. It's still unstable as well, it might crash. Who knows, but for me it runs pretty well. We've tested it, and it's okay, but it never crashes really anymore. We've ironed out most of the big bugs, but keep in mind that it is a prototype, but I do need feedback for this, which is why I'm putting it out there now. So this is Chronos. As you can see, that's the installation, the basic settings. There's not much more to it beyond that, and I'm going to move on to some more tutorials in the next video. Thanks.